let's take a look at a guitar with a crooked neck. 1970s, something or another, D35. And this one's in the process of getting hot rodded a little bit. The owner enlarged the sound hole. I didn't do that. I would have done it, but I didn't do it. But I did do a rosewood bridge for him. He wants bright, bright, bright. So I got a small bridge plate in here, popsicle bases out. I did a new bridge with 2 1/4 inch spacing. Now the thing about this is not an uncommon issue on 70s Martins, but it raised another problem, and that is the bridge was not centered. The bridge was scooted over to this side of the guitar, and then the neck was angled to that. I took the opportunity to get this thing straight, and I'm going to show you here. I'm going to move in here, and I want you to look for the center seam here on the guitar. I think you can see it right here. See that dark line right there? That's the center seam, and if you can see, it does not line up with the holes. Now that's just your visual indication. Me, I measured every side of this thing, and so I know that it is in fact off. So what I want to show you is how to straighten up a crooked neck, because this neck is now on here crooked with respect to the bridge, because I put the bridge over to where it should be, and now the strings don't line up. As you can see, if I can get them untangled here. So let's line this up. So I'm going to do a neck. I'm in the process of doing a neck reset on this guitar, and the first thing I'm going to do is record the at rest low E measurement. So stick with me. I've got this in a couple of other videos, but it's a good chance to show you again what's going on here, and then we will straighten the neck up. Let's try again. I got a new string on here now. We're going to swoop down the strings here, and I think you can pretty clearly see how far over this high E string is here. Way over compared to the low E, and that is because the bridge was on crooked. I have scooted it over the far as I can dare to. It's starting to show a little bit of finish, a little bit of bare wood right here. So I stopped right there because I didn't want to make it too ugly. It really should go over about another 32nd of an inch or so, but I guess we got it. Let's look for that center line mark again right here. Get the glare from the lights out of the way. This dark line right here is the center line, and you can see it's not quite right, so it still needs to get in there. Still needs to get in there right. And I also measured it. No, you can't always trust the center line. I measured from this corner and this corner, and every possible way, and the bridge is in square, almost square right now. It previously was not. So what we got to do is we got to basically bend the neck this way. Okay? I'm pulling it up here at the headstock. We've got to bend the neck over this way to get those strings lined up. And it's not going to take a lot. It's really not. But at this stage of the game, being that I am doing a neck reset on this guitar, the first thing I want to do here is figure out what the low E at rest measurement is. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. So this got a little tension on it. Just enough tension to be called tension, you know what I mean? It's not real super up to tune or anything. And I'm going to measure this right here, this action. Wow, that's high. I'm sure everything's good, right? Oh, I got to make sure I got a clamp down here. There we go. That's nice and snug on the heel. Got that together. This body is on. High action. Almost 110. Let's drop the 10 out and throw a 6 in there. And that's it right there. The easiest way to measure a bunch of feeler gauges is just measure them with your calipers. So 19.5, so it's 110. All right, now on my clipboard here, I measured the original action was 930. But let's go over here. Let's get this over here so we can see it. I'm using a different GoPro here that doesn't have the screen on the front, so I have to keep checking this. Okay, the original action, so I got 110, right? Let's write that down right here real quick before I forget it. So the original action was 130. I would like it to be 96. He's a fairly hard player. We're going to leave it up a little bit. That's a difference of 35 thousandths of an inch, roughly 34, 35 times 2 is 70 thousandths of an inch. So it's a difference of 35 thousandths of an inch on the action between what it was and what it needs to be. So I can come over here to this 110 and I can minus 0.35 off of this. And let me get my calculator to double check on that. Let's find out. I got back from a bike ride, and that's why I'm raspy. All right, 110 minus 35. You guys have already got the answer, 75 thousandths of an inch. So, by the time I adjust the action, 75 thousandths at rest. By the time I adjust this neck angle where I want it, this action should be 75 thousandths of an inch instead of 110. And then when I string it back up again, I should end up with about 96 thousandths of an inch. This only works if you have approximately the correct saddle in here. And I do have approximately the correct saddle. That's about how much saddle I'm going to want. I'm going to have a little bit of room for adjustment, but you've got to start with a saddle that is pretty close to what you want for your final. So the difference between 96, between 130 and 96, 35 thousandths of an inch. The guitar has been unstrung for about 3 or 4 hours now, so the top has had a chance to settle down. Everything had a chance to settle. And I'm getting 110 with the low E's at rest. I need that to change by 35 thousandths of an inch. So my at rest action should be about 75 thousandths of an inch when I get the neck angle correct. So that's the first step that I wanted to do. First step that I needed to check before I go any further. Okay? Now what we're going to do is show you how I'm going to correct this left to right motion here. It's all about the heel right here. There's 2 things you could do though. If you watch as I was doing this, these are elixir strings and they are slick. You do not want to stay in place. Okay, what we got to do is we got to move this neck over this way, like that. There's 2 ways you could do this. You could put a shim under the treble side right here to scoot it over. But the way that I'm going to do it is to come over here and take just a little bit off at the top right here. And I'm going to bring the neck over that way. I might take wood off of the top of the heel here and kick the neck just a smidgen. And I think if you look at this very carefully here, let's look at the fret. And I'm hoping I can get this without distortion on the lens. Look at the fret in relation to the body. Look at the treble. And look at the bass. And does it not look to you like the bass is just a little bit more farther forward than the treble side? So in other words, when I take a minute amount of wood off right up here, right up in here, what it's going to do is it's going to bring this fret closer to the body, and it looks like it's going to actually line up pretty good with what this one is, because I see about half the fret here on that binding, and over here I see a little bit. I see the the whole fret clear of it, you see. So we're going to adjust the neck here, and some people would say, oh, but you're going to get the fret off, you know. You're going to mess all this up. You're going to mess the intonation up. We are talking about a minuscule amount of wood here. Very, very small amount of wood. But that's the approach that I'm going to use here. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. You can check out of here right now if you want to, if you don't want to watch the process of it happening. I've explained to you the concept. I'm going to take a little bit of wood off right there at the top of the heel. And when I do that, I'm going to mess up the whole neck to body fit, and I'm going to have to refit that. That's scary to a lot of people, but it's not scary to me. I've done this before, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to get that fit back again, make it fit good. But anyway, that's the concept. If you don't want to watch the process, you can go home. If you do want to watch the process, stick around and I'll show you. So, let's bring the camera over here because this is where I'm going to be working. I'm working over here, and again, this is this camera does not have a front camera, so I'm like my GoPro 8. This is the GoPro 8, and customer of mine bought me a GoPro 10, which is the one that I normally use for this stuff, but I'm getting by with my old 8 right here. So, man, that 10 is handy. So, because that front-facing camera, I can see what's going on. All right, first thing we want to do is you want to look at the side of the body here, because what you want to do is you're going to bring the neck in to the base side. So look over here on the base side and see if there's any dirt or finish buildup or glue or anything like that that you can eliminate on this side of the body before you go mess them at the neck. And unfortunately, there's not right now. It's really super clean. Nothing really going on here. So that's all real clean. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to work with the neck itself. I'm going to set the body over there. I've got a really super sharp chisel here, a really nice chisel. The cut's super good. And what we want to do is we want to go this way with this neck. So, because that's what I was doing, is I was pulling it this way. You could put a shim under the treble side. It would push it away. But we're going to have to take just a little amount here that we're just going to cut some wood here. Now, this neck has been reset before, and whoever did it did not a very good job of fitting it. It was really super loose. I barely even steamed it. I mean, it started wiggling immediately. The shims did not fare very good. But he did a really good job of scooping out the neck right here. So it's going to make this fitting really easy because there's not a lot of heel right here. Probably should be a little bit more heel than that to keep it from breaking. But what we're going to do now is we're going to come in here and take off a little bit of wood, double check it again on the base side right here. And I'm just going to hold the chisel here and kind of scrape in here. Just scrape a little bit off right there. Looks like that might have been done at one time. If you, oh, that's a, yeah, look up here, real close. There's a little bit of a saw mark there that's not mine, and I can see one over here too. So when he was cutting this, he probably cut into the binding right there. You know, he may have, I don't know this. We're going to scrape off just a little bit right there. That's it. That's all we're going to take off. I'm going to come back over to my jig now. See how we're doing here. This neck reset jig is indispensable for this kind of work. Absolutely indispensable. We'll get all this junk out of the way. Okay, now, if you look, you can see a little bit of a gap right there. There's a little bit of a gap where I used the chisel and cut. And what we're going to do now is we're going to scoop the neck into that. So let's come back over here again. Sandpaper strips. Guitar. You can take your sandpaper strip, and instead of putting pressure back on the neck like this, so not pushing it, I'm going to hold the neck more up so that I'm working on just that forward edge. So in other words, if I hold it like this, it's never going to sand this edge. It's just going to sand up in here, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sand up here, and you can see the sandpaper. I'm only getting wood off the front, and man, I wish this bench was a little bit lower. I've said that before, but I'm used to my sanding bench being about 2 or 3 inches lower than this one. But we'll make it work. What I'm doing is I'm smoothing that cut that I made at the chisel, and I cut it. I'm smoothing that into the neck part here before I start actually getting the neck angle correct. I want this to fit fairly good before I start working with my neck reset angle. But I'm not using tape on the body right now because I want to get the most precise. Wow, I got that really good. So I've got that fitting good. Got that fitting good. There's a little bit of gap back here at the back, which is okay. I'm expecting that. But I got that good. Now you see your neck rocking like this? I can rock this neck, watch. The neck rocks back and forth. It should not do that. That's where we're going to get a little bit better fit before we progress. So to get a good fit now, what I do is push straight down on the body. So instead of going forward, or instead of going backwards with my pressure, I'm going straight down on the neck, like this. And this is where you get your neck to body fit. Watch the sandpaper right here if you can see it. See? I'm getting full dust on this thing. That means I'm cutting the neck into the body. I'm using straight down pressure, neither backwards nor forwards, just straight down pressure on this. Okay, we're going to go to this side and make sure that I'm not getting lopsided or anything. And see how easy that pulls? So what it's doing is it's sitting up higher on this side right now. Because if this side pulls, it's not really down yet. This side pulls easy. Come back over to here. Keep pulling on that. Now I'm going to go ahead and start cutting for the neck reset part, which is where I put a little bit of pressure backwards this way and start working on the whole thing. And in the process, it's going to fit. It's going to fit the neck to the body. This neck is not going to require a whole lot of reset, about 20 thousandths of an inch. So I'm going to be careful not to overdo this. When I cut this on the front, it pitched the neck forward a little bit. So that's a good way to unset a neck too, is you pitch it up forward and then refit it to this. So I don't want to get too aggressive on this until I check it a bunch of times. But it does need to fit good, but it's not fitting good right now. It's wobbling around and pulling. So need to put it on here. What I do is I hold it down at the heel with my finger, and then I try to wobble the neck. And see, the heels fit. These are fitting really good up here because it's not wanting to rock. And if it rocks, it's because there's a high spot up here or a high spot over here. So I hold it down here at the heel, just a little bit of pressure, try to rock it. It's moving back and forth inside, but not a little bit, but not bad. Okay, not bad. I'm getting pretty happy with this fit. Let's take a look at it. Let's bring the camera back up. There is the fit to the body on the neck. There's no gaps happening right there. So that looks pretty good. Let's walk over to here. Take a look at that one. That fit's looking pretty good. So let's start on the jig over here. Let's see what we get. got a video on this jig, by the way. This is one of the first things that I built in this remote shop when I started deciding that I was going to do neck resets in here. First, I was just doing flat jobs and super simple things. And then I said, you know, I need to be able to do neck resets. And then I'll have a full shop in here, elixir strings. And I love elixir strings, but God, they're hard, they're slick and hard to keep together. So I built this jig. It is absolutely indispensable, invaluable. I would not do a neck reset without the jig. And it's so simple to build. I mean, it's just stupid simple. I'm able to do it. I'm not much of a jig person. You know, some guys are just geniuses when it comes to jigs. And I'm not. I don't have the patience. So what we're looking for is the side to side. And that's all I'm concerned about right now. These are Grover 18 to 1s. Man, they take all day long to tune. That's not bad. Gosh. That's pretty good for the first shot. I think we're going to be done. Let's take a look at it sighting down the neck, which I don't think the GoPro is going to quite pick it all up right there. You're going to lose it with the fisheye. You're going to lose it with the wide angle lens, but let's go down the neck and follow along. Let's go this way. Yeah, that's a good angle. Again, the fisheye lens on the GoPro is not helping me here, but I'm gonna tell you that it looks pretty good. Here's the high E. Here's the low E. That looks really balanced to me. Yeah, that looks good and balanced. Well, I think I got it. I got lucky on that. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 or 4 shots, you know, but I got it pretty much on that first shot there. Of course, I have done about 1,000 neck resets, and you get a feel for how much you're going to take off of this to get that. But yeah, that looks good. The low E is just going straight down the fingerboard, coming in just a little bit. The high E is coming down in just a little bit more, which is what I want, because I generally want the high E in just a smidgen more. Makes it easier on your fingers when you're up here. And most people pull the string off this way. They pull it off for the treble, then up to the bass. And if you ever fret with your thumb, it's nice having it at a consistent distance. All right, now we need to focus now on the neck reset part of this thing. And again, you can leave and go home, or you can stay here and finish watching this. So I said 76 thousandths of an inch at rest. And we've got way more than that. So now we're trying to get into the serious neck reset business. So 90. What I say, 103 is what 110 is what I started with. I haven't even hit it. I haven't even started on the neck reset yet. 9112. Yeah, because when I messed with the heel, with the top of it up here, the top of the heel, I changed, like I said, I changed the angle. So that 110 is no longer relevant, although the 75 still will be. So 113. So I actually increased the neck angle a little bit. That's how you can underset a neck. I mean, it just doesn't take anything. And so there we go. All right. Just going to work on the actual neck reset parts right now. That's the end of that part. I mean, that's how you get a neck straightened out. It's not that big of a deal. It's a pretty simple process. It's just, you know, there's your options. You can use a shim. You can work with the top of it up here. Whatever you want to do. So I'm going to do the neck reset part right now, and I guess we're done with this video. So see ya.